How did you develop a heart for missions?
Okay. Well, God has been working in me a long time for developing that in me. When I was younger, my parents were missionaries. I didn't want to be a missionary. I said that's not for me, God. But He has His ways. As I was in the Philippines, He brought me to the Philippines. I just saw the need, the darkness in all of the world, for people to. I'm trying to be too professional. Anyway, we can cut this out. But
That's in there.
I, I just saw the need for people to love people and overseas, and I saw that God's heart for us to go and share it to everyone. So I know that there's a need here in America, but I definitely had a heart to go out and beyond and wherever. I just prayed, God, take me somewhere.
What led you to pursue missions in India?
Well, as when I came back from the Philippines, I was praying about it, and I was like, God, where do you want me to go? I know I didn't have any burden for any certain country, but I knew that God would give me that, and so as I was praying for it, He just brought India to my mind, and my friend was like, well, why don't you just go on a mission trip there? And so I was okay, and I didn't know how I was gonna go. I didn't know who I was gonna go with, and I also didn't know the needs that were in India. So when I looked it up, I realized there's 88% are Hinduism there, only 2% Christian. So it's definitely a dark place, and I knew that if God would bring me, then I would minister there. So He connected me to Livy. He's the leader of our team, and that's how I ended up ministering in India.
What did your ministry look like while you were in India?
There was a team of about 7 of us, 10 of us all together, including our translators and our super driver. We would go to different villages. A lot of times Livy was very connected. Livy is Indian, and so he had a lot of connections there in India. We would go to sometimes his family village and minister. We would go to some churches, friends' churches, and we just were encouraging the local church, encouraging the Christians to continue on in their faith, sharing our testimonies, and also sharing the gospel for whoever might hear it, whoever doesn't know Christ yet. Another thing that we did was Livy's mom had started a children's home, and so we got to spend a lot of time with the kids in between traveling to different villages and traveling around the country. We just always came back to his house, and we got to stay with the kids, and we just got to spend quality time with them. We couldn't talk, so we didn't get to we couldn't speak Telugu or anything, so we couldn't really build into them until through words, but just through love, showing them, we had dance parties with the kids, and we would do their hair. We did the girls' hair and the nails, and the boys would always run all over the place with the kids. So we just got to spend time with them, showing them that they were loved, and that was just a really special time to see their faces light up and see that they're precious.
What needs did you encounter as you ministered in India?
Some needs, there's so many. If I were gonna talk about them all, it would be like a whole book. I'd have a whole book. We definitely saw a lot of poverty, but I think the most was the spiritual poverty, the darkness that I saw. The kids, they need love. A lot of them have parents, but they can't care for them, so they send them to this child's home, and they just need someone to show them they're cared and loved for. The boys really had my heart. They reminded me of my little brothers, and just realizing that these little boys don't have someone to wake them up gently in the morning and hug them and help them brush their teeth and do their hair and get them ready to go to school. They're doing it all on their own, and that really tugged at me and just broke my heart. for the little boys there, and the little girls. They're all so sweet. And just seeing that they don't have anyone. They have their parents, but they see them only on like during the summer break. They'll go home with them. But otherwise, they're here just living life with the 20 other kids that are in the children's home. So they're just alone, even in the midst of the people surrounding them.
What was the spiritual condition of those you ministered to?
Spiritual. This is crazy. I was really surprised and shocked. It's not something I've experienced before. Here in America, everyone is Christian or claims to be Christian for the most part. They at least live acknowledging a God. In India, they live acknowledging many gods. They have a lot of superstitions. We went to a village, and it was just so dark there. There was a church that we went and we prayed with. We prayed with the lady in the church. The pastor was gone, but we prayed with the pastor's wife. And we were then walking around the village with her. And we went to different houses and we said, can we pray for you? What are your prayer requests? What are some of your needs? As we walked through the village, a lot of the people, just knowing that we were with the pastor's wife, wouldn't even talk to us. They wouldn't look at us. We went to this one lady's house, and she stood on the farthest edge of her porch, as far away from us as she could get. She just didn't want to have anything to do with God. Another time in the same village, we went to this lady's house, and they told us this lady was practicing witchcraft, and so we knew kind of what we were getting into, but we didn't know what her reaction would be. And when he asked her if we could pray for her, she said, please don't pray for me, because I can't have my feet in both boats. She knew that who she was serving wasn't God. She was so she didn't want us to pray for her. She told us her testimony. She said that she used to be a Christian, but she got sick, and so she didn't trust God anymore, and so she started serving the enemy. And so it was just really, we prayed for her anyway. We said, man, we'd still like to pray for you. And it's just really interesting seeing the darkness that they're in, and they know that they're in. I think here in America, we're in the same kind of darkness. People in America still don't have Christ, but they don't know it as much. But in India, we could really see in each place, as you drive down the street, you'd see houses there will be different symbols of things. Like they would have tiles on their houses. They're all made out of cement. They'd have these tiles on the edges of their houses that would have a picture of a god, of one of their gods. They have so many. Or they'd also have these gourds. They hang gourds, and it's supposed to collect all the bad thoughts and evil spirits into this gourd, so it doesn't live in their house. And so just seeing this spiritual darkness that they're in, and this lie that they're living, there's no truth. It just really breaks my heart for the people in India, and seeing even in America, it helps me see more of the darkness that we're here in America, and the way that we need to share truth.
How was your experience in India different than your previous experience in the Philippines?
Well, it was really hard. I kind of went knowing that it would be a lot different, but I was like, oh, I've been overseas before. This will be okay. But when I got there, it was so different. It was still Asia. They still had a lot of, they still practiced the respect for the elders. Definite respect to one another. They so welcoming and hospitable. But it was really hard because I was a foreigner again. When I was in the Philippines, I'd grown so accustomed to the language and the culture. I knew how everything went in the Philippines. I was honorary Filipina. But in India, I was a foreigner again. I didn't know all of their little customs. I didn't know the best way to show respect to someone. I didn't know all these things. I didn't know the language, and that really frustrated me. There was so many times where I would think, I know this in Tagalog, but it doesn't help me here. I'm in India. So it was hard, but it was really cool to see. God really taught me a lot in that, just showing me again, look, Amanda, you are just a person. It's not you, it's me. I am the great one, and I'm just using you for my glory. So just again, being shown my helplessness was so good. So it was really challenging, but it was really good, and it was I like being a foreigner. It really shows me my need for God and my need for others, need for the team.